income for yourself and your families.
Springboard, your personal value will shooter.
Live from digital address GA09933341. Good evening. And with that quote from Sir Richard Branson of the Virgin Group, I welcome you to tonight's edition of Springboard, your virtual university on Joy 99.7 FM. It's been a whole month away because of AFCON coverage, but it's good to be back. Springboard is brought to you by Legacy and your superstation Joy 99.7 FM. The broadcast is made possible by the kind courtesy of MTN, Ghana's #1 network. We are also supported by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. Our print media support comes from the graphic business. Thank you for joining us tonight on Joy FM and on Facebook, streaming live digitally on Joy 997 FM. Albert N.E. Okran and Comfort Okran A. My name is Albert Okran. And on behalf of the Virtual Academic Board, chaired by Comfort with support from Matthew, Priscilla, Amos, Emmanuel, and Jojo, I wish you a blessed Sunday wherever you're listening from tonight. And so here is the issue. With over 350,000 potential job seekers entering the market every year, how do we as a nation, a society, provide opportunities for them in the economic marketplace? Tonight we explore the all-important subject of entrepreneurship. What is it? What is it not? And by the way, talking about economic opportunity, guess how many years the World Economic Forum projects it will take to achieve equal economic opportunities for men and women, that is gender parity in the economic space. Amazing. Just send your answer. How many years do you think it will take for gender parity in the economic space? That is, men and women having equal opportunity in the economic marketplace. Guess how many years it will take to achieve it across the world. If you send the correct answer to me on 02499995555, you could win a copy of the book Principles of Success and World Creation by my guest for tonight. I'll tell you about that book. There's a whole history surrounding that book. All right, so you could win a copy of that book. And then a supplementary question by this one. It's not an exam room, but a supplementary question. Which 5 countries have already achieved gender parity in the economic space? That means that in those countries, men and women already have equal opportunity economically. You say it's impossible. Some are already doing it. All right. So tonight we talk about entrepreneurship and we examine what the practitioners call entrepreneurship, not the textbook one, the real one, and then the importance, opportunities, but our focus largely is on the mindset of an entrepreneur. What do they do differently? What do they see that we don't see? How do they get to achieve results in the most unlikely of circumstances? My guest for tonight is a big friend of Springboard. We've been together in the trenches over the years. He's been here right at the inception of this show. I mean, this show has been 11 years on radio. He was here right at the beginning, and some of the most exciting times we've had at Springboard have been with this man. So he is somebody that we know very, very well. He's a pharmacist. He's an entrepreneur. He's an elder in church. He wears several hats. He's an author. And he's a multiple, or some call it a serial entrepreneur. He's also a traditional leader and stood as the Nkabom Hene of the New Jobbing traditional area. He's so passionate about New Jobbing. I don't know. I mean, anytime I've had to go there for a festival of or festival or traditional activities because of him, and of course, the traditional head himself. So let's break down the subject with my guest for tonight, the CEO of Mikaddo Holdings, the governor, Nana Dr. Addo Agyekum. Nana, welcome to Springboard.
Thank you.
Good to see you. I must tell them the history.
Of course.
Let me tell you, before we settle on the subject, let me tell you my last encounter with you here at Springboard. I've used it several times on radio, and for me, that was, we were having a discussion several years ago on this same subject, entrepreneurship and opportunity. And your submission that day was that the rich look for opportunities to make more money, and the poor typically look for opportunities to spend their money. And it is in the mind. And while we're talking, people gathered outside Joy FM because the subject was quite hot. So when we finished the show, we went out, and here was quite an aggressive crowd trying to see what are you guys talking about. And I remember you were using a white vehicle that day. I remember it so well. And when we got out, the guys were standing outside Joy FM, and you said to me, just watch what I'll do. And you opened your boot, removed beef Foster bread. It was quite in vogue at the time. You had come straight from Koforidua, and you sold the bread to the people standing then to the people standing in front of the station, showed me the money, and reminded me that the rich will always make more money and the poor will spend the money.
Exactly.
Tell me, what is it about entrepreneurship that fascinates you so much?
I've been poor before, homeless, no food to eat, and now, by God's grace, I have something in my sleeves. The two, poverty and wealth. I would definitely choose wealth. Poverty comes with so many problems and challenges, even though the rich also have, but they can always surmount the challenges. That's the more reason why I think I should be passionate with entrepreneurship. And what is entrepreneurship? If you organize resources, both natural and artificial ones, the sun, air, water, human beings, the land, the soil, plus electricity, water, whatever. If you're able to organize all of these, put them together into a business venture, then we say you're an entrepreneur. The process is entrepreneurship. And the aim and the objective is to have profit, to have rewards. Sometimes it turns into losses, but that gives you lessons. So entrepreneurship is to organize resources together, put them into a business venture to make profit.
All right. So the ultimate objective of the entrepreneur is to make profit.
Yes. And if you make loss, it becomes a lesson.
But can profit also give you lessons?
No, then you are enjoying.
Profit gives you enjoyment. Losses give you lessons. All right. So that's the first tip to write down. Profit gives you enjoyment, and then losses give you lessons and memories. All right. So why? I mean, beyond practicing, it is obvious that your passion goes beyond practice. So we'll look at some of the things you've done, but you also are passionate about communicating it, teaching it. You've written about it. Why do you feel a sense of compulsion to pass on the message?
Right. When I compare Ghana, and for that matter, developing countries, with Europe and America and emerging Asian tigers, then I see that our people have a problem. And the problem that I see from Accra to Paga, Aflo to Elubo, the people called Ghanaians, we are sitting on gold and yet we don't see it. We are in paradise and yet we don't feel it. And that's why I think I should leave a legacy telling them how I have come from zero to somewhere, from grass to grace. And that process, I think I should share with people. I shouldn't be selfish. I should let them know. That's why I do what I do.
I recall this book that I'm talking about today and giving out, and I recall the discussion we had several years ago that led to the writing of this book. I was telling Matthew that there's a history behind this book.
Exactly.
And when I heard it the first time, I felt that the principles you were sharing were so strong that they needed to be put in writing. And
that's right.
And we challenged each other, and the book came out, and not just challenged, but I actually was very much involved in the capturing your thoughts in this book, which I had the privilege of printing in my printing days, and which has been reprinted several times. Yes. And now, how many have you done since subsequently?
I have sold over 300,000 of this book to all students in this country.
Right. And subsequently, you've gone on to do how many more books?
About 6 more now.
Right.
So thanks to you for your encouragement. Seriously,
it's just a blessing to know that you're carrying the flag so strongly. But say, let me find out. You talk about poverty being the trigger for you in terms of your background, need, challenges being the thing that pushed you to go into entrepreneurship. What are some of the other things that push people generally to look for business opportunity, explore business opportunity?
I must say that envy and jealousy are serious emotional stresses that come into people. Luckily, if you put into positive stress of envy and jealousy, it makes you become an entrepreneur. You see a colleague making it through his trading activities. That jealousy makes you move on. Sometimes you are also in a business working for somebody, and then you think that you are not being treated fairly. It pushes you to go on to do something. What is wrong is the fact that if the jealousy and envy is negative, that you wish the person bad, you wish him to fall, to destroy his business, that will never push you to be on your own and to succeed for that matter. So I would think that the urge to move on, to make it in life, is a key. The awareness that, I want to make it. You could come from a very good home, and yet you will not make it because you are not pushed. But where you think, my father has made it, I should make it better. That push alone, to me, is a trigger.
Right. 15 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock. This is the resurrection edition of Springboard, your virtual university. That means that we've been off for a while and we are back with the bank. So we are talking about entrepreneurship. It's a beginning of a discussion that we'll be having that will point us in the direction of opportunities. Over the next few weeks, we'll be showing you several opportunities that are available that one can take. And my guest for tonight is Nana Dr. Addo Agyekum, my big friend and a partner of Springboard, and he's an author as well as an entrepreneur, helping us to understand how to become an entrepreneur. Now, he says Ghana is gold, literally sitting on gold.
Paradise.
And paradise. Those are two very powerful words.
Yes.
Let's talk about these opportunities that you point to, because I mean, you listen to the average person and they talk about the challenges, the difficulties that they face in a country like ours. The per capita income is low compared to other countries. Unemployment is quite high. People come out of school and you will meet somebody with a master's degree looking for a chance to do a job that typically some time ago would have been done by somebody with a diploma or probably middle school living certificate. And so where is this gold you are talking about that many people don't see?
Albert, if I should refer you to the Bible, which I know you're also passionate about, Christ gave a parable in Matthew chapter 13, verses 13 and 14, that they have the eyes to see, and yet they don't see. They have the ears to hear, and yet they don't hear nor understand. And I think Ghanaians should have a prayer where our eyes will see what we see, and our ears should hear what we are hearing and understand it. We have all the things that are in the Bible in Genesis chapter 1, in the Garden of Eden. The fat animals like elephants and the small ones like ants, we have them in Ghana. We have the fastest and the slowest like snails, we have them. All types of fruits, all types of fish, we have everything. So why are we complaining? And God told Adam to go, and Adam was still standing there until he gave him the money. Those are the minerals, gold, diamond, bauxite. We still have them in Ghana. I believe God himself is a Ghanaian, Albert. And Adam was born in Agyekum, so I hear. Because the crossroad of the world is in Ghana. The Greenwich Meridian passes through Ghana, and then the equator also passes through Ghana. The gravity of Ghana is even different from the gravity in the Scandinavian countries. It's been established by science. So if I say we are in paradise, it means that our soil is fertile, everything is okay. So why are we complaining? We see all these things, and for the past 60 years, we've been mining our gold without refining. We are still exploiting our oil, still unrefined. So what's wrong? What is amiss? And that's my problem, that's my challenge facing Ghanaians. So I hope the government is listening to us, that it's about time we put value to some of these things and we stop just exporting the raw materials, because we are sitting on gold.
So your main prescription, Dr. Agyekum Addo, is that we should move from primary export to refinement of. There are arguments that have been raised about that, but let me bring on Jojo, who's in our team, to give us
one of the young guys
perspective. Yes,
tell us why they are complaining when they are sitting.
So let's hear it. Let's not say for them. Let's hear it from the young people themselves. So, Mr. Okran, the position of the governor is that really there is that much opportunity in here, and I'm sure you will also acknowledge that there are quite a number of your colleagues straight from university, finished national service, who are jobless, and government is trying with NAPCO to try and bridge the gap. But the reality is that there's so many people who need help that it's almost like a drop in the bucket. There's so much more that has to be done. So, Governor, you're asking what is the challenge with entering into business?
So, Jojo, how old are you?
23.
23. So I would say you are within the youth group.
Sure.
That bracket, I think that you have so much opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So what's amiss? Why are people not grabbing the opportunities there are in Ghana?
I think, first of all, that's starting from a position that views that being something amiss already, and I don't necessarily think that is the case. There are a fair number of graduates who are unemployed. However, in every single time period you look at, there have been people who are unemployed. But when you also look at my peers, there are a lot of people doing incredible work, taking the same things that some people may not necessarily view as opportunities. Foodstuff Home is one of them. She took the money that she made from her national service, and now she is an entrepreneur who goes to the market, and she has a journalism degree. So some people may not view that as the work she should be doing, but she goes to the market, she takes the raw materials, and then takes them to people's homes.
So Jojo, I mentioned somebody's name. Mm-hmm. She's only one person out of the lot.
But there are a lot of entrepreneurs like them, because you may not necessarily see them because they haven't blown up just yet, but people are hustling in the streets. People are really putting in the work.
So could you agree with me that that girl has overcome shyness?
To an extent, yes.
She has also overcome pride.
Yes.
That this business is not my business. I'm a journalist, so I should always be within the print media or whatever.
Sure.
And that has gone on for the food industry. So do you agree that most of these youth are struggling because the mindset is such that it's the status quo? It's fixed. That because I'm a graduate, I should look out for a job in the banking industry or something, white collar job. Do you agree?
I don't think that is necessarily the case. To an extent, yes, because there are some challenges to starting a business right out of school. For instance, an older entrepreneur has different kinds of capital. They have financial capital because they've been working for a while, they have savings, and they have social capital because as you work, you generate connections, you generate goodwill, you generate a reputation that you can then take with you into a career. However, when you look at somebody that came out right from school, they have to get somebody to give them that first big break, and sometimes it's discouraging when you're working, and that first big break is just not coming. And then you have bureaucratic challenges, like when you go to register a business and then they're giving you 1,000 forms and just trying to make it difficult for you to get started. So I think it's a mix.
22 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock, and if you just tune in, this is not pros and cons. This is not the debate between the old and the young, the entrepreneurs and the startups. It's just a conversation about opportunity. And I have the privilege of getting to have an experienced entrepreneur in the studio, and then also a young person straight from university doing national service, starting his career, and we are having a discourse about two schools of thought or two different angles, and I get to be the beneficiary as well as our listeners out there. So just to summarize what we've learned so far, and I'm going to come back to my two protagonists. So far we've been talking about entrepreneurship, and Dr. Agyekum has been saying that, listen, an entrepreneur harnesses resources and channels them to a venture mainly to generate profit, and then in the course of doing that also sometimes incurs losses. He says the profits you enjoy them, the losses you learn the lessons. As simple as that. He says Ghanaians are still on gold and in paradise and we don't see it. And he says that can be traced to Matthew 13 verse 13 and 14. For those who like writing notes, that's the one for you. He says that typically we are exporting primary
commodities,
and we should switch to processing these to change the situation in our country. He says the triggers for entrepreneurship. Very interesting point he made there about the triggers of entrepreneurship. For him, it was poverty, lack, and that's simply it. He says for him, poverty and lack compelled him to go into entrepreneurship. But he says the others are not just the traditional ones, but things like even envy and jealousy, when channeled positively, can be springboards or triggers for business. And he says a sense of or feeling of injustice. You work somewhere, you feel that you're not being treated fairly. That can also inspire you to go into entrepreneurship. So I brought on Jojo to talk about the challenges that young people face in starting up a business. And he says, listen, there are so many success stories, but there may be challenges, but there also are a number of success stories. Governor says they are just dotted around, just a few of them. He mentions a company called Foodstuffs Home, and he says the person has a background in journalism and has gone into food processing or food retail. Or delivery and retail, and Governor says, well, that's a typical example of somebody who overcame shyness, pride, and went into an area that you typically will not go into, and that is the entrepreneurial mindset he's talking about. So that is where we are so far. But let me remind you, we will be coming to a segment that talks about gender parity, and our main argument is simple. If 7.5 billion people in the world, that's the world's population, and half of them are women, then in talking about economic opportunity, we must talk about what it takes to bring all women into the space where they can fully realize their economic potential. And as a country, we want to look at where are we on this journey and what can be done to make it more feasible for women to take their full place. So I asked the question, according to the World Economic Forum, how many years will it take to achieve gender parity? I'll answer the question in the data is king segment, but some people are posting answers on Facebook on the stream. So go to our Facebook stream on Joy 997 FM and post your thoughts about how many years it will take to achieve. I've seen the correct answer somewhere. How many years will it take to achieve gender parity in the economic space? Just post your answer according to the World Economic Forum. And then, by the way, also 5 countries have already achieved it. Please name one of them. If you want to win the prize that badly, name one of them. All right, and that prize is a book from the governor on entrepreneurship. So we've talked about the origin of entrepreneurship. We've talked about the definition. Now let's go to the key subject for today, which is the mindset. Governor, you say the example that Jojo gave was somebody who moved away from the norm. Let me come to Jojo first. Jojo, would you agree that Foodstuffs, but I'm mentioning the name over and over so somebody will hear it and buy from her just because I'm encouraged by her example? So it's free promo. But would you say that person literally, people like M-Sims, I mean the people who are doing horseman shoes, people who went straight from school into business and broke the mold, would you agree that these are people who they are outliers? They didn't follow the regular routine.
You know, it's interesting because people take different routes to get to where they are on their entrepreneurial journey. Like I know a friend of mine who started out as a programmer, which is a quite conventional choice these days. A lot of people are going to the computer science field, and realized that his passion was for cooking, and then moved on and became a chef. So people definitely take different paths to the same place in terms of being entrepreneurs. And I think that's one lesson that people should definitely take away, that you don't have to feel pressured that I have to leave right now. If you feel like you are in the period where you are gaining experience, where you are learning the skills and the tools that will make you an effective entrepreneur, once you leave that space of employment, I feel like it's okay to take your time and to learn, so that when you actually go out there and you start working for yourself, you can actually be the best entrepreneur you can be.
There are 2 schools of thought. One school of thought says get in there fresh, where your responsibilities are less, you're not married, you don't have children, and break your back and learn your lessons and cry. And by the time you are more responsible, you would have found your feet. Others say, listen, learn what you can learn so that when you come, you will not fall. You will just hit the ground running. And each school of thought is so passionate about what they believe that they wouldn't even listen to the other school of thought. Governor, which one do you belong to? Do you believe they should go in straight, or they should learn under somebody first?
You have to be an apprentice for some time. And I will recommend 3 years minimum.
Why?
Learn some lessons. Because sometimes when you fall, you might never ever come up. So it's better to have somebody to train you before you go on your own.
Your concept of entrepreneurship is a bit brutal. I mean, from my knowledge of your thoughts over the years, I mean, you are the one who, and you talk about what you learned from me, but I also learned from you. My Jojo, who is sitting next to you, learned he had to go and work in a laundry when he was less than 10. Yes. And we'll put him. He would take public transport.
Yes.
And people could call his mother and say,
"You learned from me." Seriously.
No, I learned that from you.
Yes.
So he did it, and it influenced him quite a bit. And it was quite.
But he hasn't been a mechanic yet.
No, I mean he didn't go through the full curriculum. Your curriculum is too brutal. but he did some work.
But it helps. It has helped my children so far.
It did.
For the past 25 years, all my kids, 9 of them, boy or girl.
Governor, 9. You're powerful.
Yes. You have to go through from JHS to be a hairdresser. Then you have to be an electrician. You have to be a chef or work in the kitchen. You have to be a seamstress or a tailor, and then a mechanic. Before you go to the university, you must be a mechanic. And I'm telling you that they are asking me to write a book on parenting. By that time, they were challenging. You are humiliating us. We go to Holy Child. We are in Prempeh College. We are in Opokuwari. All the top schools, SOS and minor. And they were asking us to sell in the streets and go to do it. If you don't do it, you don't eat in the home. And now, after 25 years, they are doctors, they are pharmacists, architects, and they are telling me, Dad, you've done so much for us.
Charlie, a round of applause for you. You do all.
The curriculum had boom.
Yeah.
So by the time you finish your university, your mind would have been entrepreneurial. Shyness is off the mark, pride is no more, and you see the world in its real perspective. Yes. Because Jojo, I will tell you that if you really want to do business, and for listeners, there are 6 factors, which I call 6 M's.
I'm going to come back to that very shortly, but let me just pause and give some props to our partners on this show. This is Springboard, your virtual university, and as you probably are aware, our discussion today is about entrepreneurship, and my guest for today is Dr. Mikaddo Agyekum, who's also a traditional leader and an entrepreneur and author, and he's been walking me through some of the radical thoughts that he has. So I'm going to take a brief break. When I come back, let's talk about the thinking of the entrepreneur, what they do differently, and that's so important because you will realize then that it is doable. But the EcoBank Express Point allows you to access banking services across the country. Enjoy EcoBank Express Point services after banking hours, including weekends and holidays. Locate an EcoBank Express Point nearest to you at selected Shell shops, pharmacies, grocery shops, ECG vendor points, and mobile money merchant locations. Enjoy the following services at our Express Points. Open an instant EcoBank Express account, deposit and withdraw cash from your EcoBank accounts, redeem e-tokens, receive international remittances through Rapid Transfer, Western Union, Ria, Vigo, and Unity Link. To locate an EcoBank Express Point, simply dial *770#. Select 8 for Express Locator. Select region and enter first 3 letters of your area. Begin to transact today. EcoBank is your CIMG Marketing-Oriented Company of the Year, CIMG Hall of Fame Bank, and the Pan-African Bank. Let me go for a brief commercial break. When I come back, let's talk about Data is King segment, and very importantly, how many years do you think it will take for women and men to have equal opportunities? I'm going to greet my friends who are gender activists, and I'm going to greet all those who celebrated their birthday with me this week when I come back from this break. Please don't go away.
Charlie, where are you?
Boss man, I'm at the bank.
Really? But your car is in front of your house.
Bro, my bank on my phone, Charlie.
Oh, how?
EcoBank, bro. With EcoBank mobile app, I can do everything, anywhere, anytime. Listen, I just checked my account balance, pay paid Ahmed school fees, and sent money to my grandma at Walwale.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Masa, just download the EcoBank mobile app from the Google Play Store or the App Store, or dial *770# and be your own bank manager.
Manager.
Whether to pay bills or fees, to check account statements, send money across Ghana, abroad, and more, EcoBank mobile app has got it covered. EcoBank Mobile, making everyday people live everyday lives the EcoBank way. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
EcoBank is the Pan-African Bank. MTN is Ghana's #1 network, and Springboard is your virtual university. It's 34 minutes past the hour of 7. This is a discussion about entrepreneurship with Dr. Mike Agyekum Addo. And so far, we've learned some very, very interesting lessons. But let me bring you some data that will make you happy. So, in our Data is King segment today, we focus on gender parity. We're talking about economic empowerment. We want to find out how well have we done in creating space for men and women to have equal opportunity. I dedicate this segment to my daughter Nana because she must have equal opportunity to be able to express her talents, gifts, abilities without any restriction just because she's a young lady. So across 149 countries assessed, only 17% of them currently have women as heads of state. 17%. 18% of ministers across the world are women. 24% of parliamentarians globally are women. That is about a little less than 1/4. Priscilla, have you heard? Less than 1/4. And that is why all my female friends going into politics in parliament, I am an automatic supporter. Simple. Women hold just 34%, 1/3 of managerial positions across the countries where data is available. 1/3, 34% of managerial positions. And now to the quiz question. According to the World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap Report 2018, at the current rate of progress in creating gender parity, it will take another, let me pause. Somebody said 50. That was not close. It will take 202 years to achieve gender parity. So Precious Bedu, you got it correct. Precious Bedu, you got it 202. Also, Christine Patience Manful, you got it correct, 202 years. So I'm going to give those two books to Precious and to Patience. Yes, Precious Bedu and to Patience. Patience got it correct as well. 202 years. And for those who want to know the year from the 2018 when the report was published to the counting 202 years, it will be 2220. Wow. Charlie, even if you use the face up to type 2220, I'm telling you, even your grandmother will not recognize you. All right, so that's how long it will take to create opportunity. Now, I asked the question, and nobody got it right. How many countries, which countries have already achieved gender parity? Which countries? There are 19 countries that have at least 40% of women in managerial positions. 19. But the 5 that have achieved 50-50, look out for these countries. Number 1, Bahamas. Number 2, Colombia. Number 3, Jamaica. Number 4, Lao PDR. And number 5, Philippines. This is just, somebody says useless data, but it's okay. it's worth knowing. So it is Bahamas, Colombia, Jamaica, Lao PDR, and then the Philippines. These are the countries that have achieved gender parity. That means that whether you are male or female, you have equal opportunity. A big thank you to our research segment headed by Imo Sansa for this brilliant submission. So let me once again mention that Precious Bedu and then Christina, might not to give me the full name, Christine Patience Manful. Matthew will get in touch with you, and you have won yourself these books. Let me get them again. Where's my book? All right, so The Winning Attitude and Etiquette for All by Michael Agyekum Addo is the book I'm giving to you, Christine. And then I'm also giving out the book on the 7 principles of success in world creation, both of them by my friend Dr. Michael Agyekum Addo. All right, so let me come back to the studio to the discussion on entrepreneurship and Governor. I call him Governor. So, Governor, what distinguishes an entrepreneur from the rest? Talking about the thinking pattern, the mindset. You've mentioned already that they overcome shyness and they overcome pride and do what has to be done without thinking that right, this is below my level. And I've seen you selling bread, so I know you believe in it. It's not something you're just preaching. But what are the attributes, the mindset of the typical entrepreneur?
Well, I will start from how we are being brought up from infancy, and I'll put the onus on the floor, the doorsteps of parents. Right from crawling stage, parents try to minimize the freedom of the child. They push you at the back, they put you in a court, whilst the child wants to be free and move left and right, center, anywhere. That's developing the mindset, which is free, flexibility. But we fix them. At 2, they try to, sing, making noise to the parents. But to the child, is singing Lumba song, gospel music. But because the pronunciations are not correct, parents take it as noise. They will drive them away, shout them down. You are locking up that imaginative mind during the developmental stage. At 3, 4, they want to draw. They draw on the floor, abstract things. They said you are making the tiles dirty. Then they go onto the wall. Again, the moment you lift the cane or you shout with your eyeballs popping out, the mindset of the child gets locked up. And that's what I have observed over the years. We don't give our children the freedom to develop. So by 5 to 10, the mind is already blocked. Then we start to talk about, do your work well, you'll be brilliant, steady hard. What I've also observed that the mind has 2 lobes.
Right.
That's the brain.
And for those who are watching on Facebook, Governor is holding a human brain.
And there's a line dividing the 2 lobes.
And dividing the
left
2
and right.
components, yes, right.
Now, science has shown that they work differently. Whereas the left lobe determines how logical you will be.
Put it on the console so we can still capture it, right? So
now this is my side of the right, but now in the brain this is the left,
right,
and this one will be the right.
So the left brain, the right brain, okay.
Yes, and the left handles analysis, language, logic. It determines the limits of things, whereas the right works on art, beauty, colors, music, dance, imagination, and for that matter, entrepreneurship, which talks about innovation and creativity. It's all about the right. But Ghana, as a people, we hammer more on the left, which is academic, purely academic, to the extent that even at schools, those who are reading visual arts, we tend to look down to them and then we even laugh at them. But I'm telling you, Albert, 21st century, society all over the world is recognizing those with the right imaginative brain. And that's why Bill Gates will be the richest for a long time to come, because he's using the mind, thinking about what others would do. French, Spanish, a tree person, whoever. He's imagining how you would handle your life and putting it into the software. So if you write a letter, you definitely make mistakes. And so he has put in the cursor. It can be arrow, a line, or a palm. He's thinking ahead, 100 years ahead of our time. And that's what entrepreneurs are supposed to have, their mindset. So if you really want to go into business, there are 6 M's. Manpower, machines, materials, marketing, money, and minutes. Minutes meaning time. Albert,
run them by us again. Manpower, machines,
materials, marketing, money, and minutes. Out of the 6, the least important is money, and the most important is manpower. And when we talk about manpower, is your mindset, because the mind that will organize all the other 5. So you need to have a mindset which is so positive to organize all the resources that God has given us. We live in a tropical country. Sun is all over throughout the year, and we are not harnessing the potential of the sun. We sit here, and somebody has to come all over from Europe and America to organize an air condition for us. We can't do it. How? Solar panels are now in vogue. Who is bringing it? Is it the Ghanaian or a foreigner? Now air. Now we are buying water. So what are we doing with our rivers? We are rather polluting them. And now very soon we'll be importing water all through. We are now going GMO. And the seeds will be imported. Very soon we didn't have anything to plant. There's something fundamentally wrong with our mindset, which we have to work on. For now, I'll prescribe entertainment and sports, where 21st century will harness talents, and that's where we can have an advantage over the other countries.
16 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock, and this is the kind of discussion that parents will be listening to and asking themselves, are we going or are we coming? So his prescription, more entertainment, more sports, the students will be very happy at this one. So the 6 M's, manpower, and he says manpower, machines, materials, marketing, money, and minutes referring to time. And he said the most important one of them is manpower, and the least important and the one that many people highlight is money. He says that if you have the things right, the money will come. But very importantly, he says manpower, he drills it down to mindsets, and says the right kind of mind or the right kind of thinking will definitely create opportunity. I'm going to open the phone lines now, and the number to call 030-221-6541, 030-221-6541, or 0244340437. So that's the number for WhatsApp, but call 030-221-6541 and let's talk. What is your one big takeaway from today? What has provoked you? What has challenged you in this discussion about entrepreneurship? Let me split the brain into two. According to Dr. Agyekum, the left side is for analysis, language, logic, and limits. The restrictions that we are used to. Don't move. Sit down. Stand up. Don't run. Don't draw. Don't shout. He says that is the left brain. He says the right brain is the free one, the one that focuses on art, beauty, music, dance, colors, imagination, and that is where entrepreneurship resides. So now you are seeing why that Charlie, it go hard. The business, the number of stop has killed the business spirit in the child. So the phone lines are now open. Call into the show. Let's talk. What's the one big lesson that you've learned? 030-221-6541. What one big lesson have you learned from this discussion about entrepreneurship? Are you an entrepreneur yourself? What has provoked you tonight? So let me acknowledge Aaron Odua Mensa writing on Facebook, who says, I like the frankness with which he talks on all platforms. So that's the governor for you. All right. Edem Zogli says the system fights against the youth. Samuel says is wow. Right. Daniel Kwekudasin writing from London says, how do you translate social capital into beneficial business? I mean, if you know people, how do you leverage on that one for business? Let me bring that to you, Governor. And then Christine Manful, who won the book, says our generations are not deliberately informing the younger generation to work hard, start small, and rise after every fall. Let me find out from you, how do you take advantage of social capital?
Right. It's in my book, 7 Principles of Success and Wealth Creation, page 27, which categorically says that wealth is wisdom and people. You know how much cash that you make or you generate, but wealth is wisdom and people. How do you handle people? What is your relationship like with people, with your nuclear family, extended family, your friends, your schoolmates, your church members, what have you? Are you the individualistic type that with a fixed mind, or you are the free, outgoing type? You realize that when people go for programs, they will sit down for 1 hour, 2 hours, and just go away without asking the next person sitting by him his name and whatever.
Very common.
Yes.
But on
the
eastern side of Ghana, there's a different another country there that does very well at networking. No, that's Nigeria. When they go to events,
Yes.
a typical Nigerian will go to an event with a friend and they split at the gate and go and make friends, and then they converge and go home together.
Perfect.
The Ghanaian will sit next to your friend from beginning
So
to end.
social capital really is important in the sense that it's the people that can give you the credit
Right.
in machines, materials, whatever. If you want to do marketing, you need a target group. That's where your social capital comes in.
In my book 1001 Tips for an Outstanding Life, which I'm serializing on Facebook currently, I'm on tip number 97. It says, recognize the value of mentors. Find trusted people who are ahead of you with the relevant experience and allow them to guide you, speak into your life, and show you the way. How important is mentorship?
Very, very important. But in Ghana here, the mentors do not trust the mentees.
Why?
I like that. In my book, 7 Principles of Success and Wealth Creation, page 16, and I'm saying that even without time, we are not sure to go by it.
So you give people opportunities and they don't take the time serious?
Oh, we are meeting at 9 o'clock. He comes at 9:30. To him, he's been honest to come, but he was not reliable. So my first principle is to be a reliable person for somebody to trust you, to be able to train you. So mentors look out for people that can be trusted because they are going to be their ambassadors. Meanwhile, right from the word go, you are not trusted. And I tell you, people come to me and say, oh, is that it? I say, no, I'm not ready for you because you were late. And they can't understand me because they were trying to explain. And the more you explain, the more I get annoyed. Because in page 89 of my book, you've made a mistake. Jojo, just read page 89. You've made a mistake. To me, you must accept it immediately. Don't dwell on it.
I like the way you just mentioned the page numbers.
Yes, because the book is part of me.
Okay.
Don't dwell on it. Learn from it and never repeat it. Yeah, okay.
Wise people learn from their mistakes, and wiser people learn from other people's mistakes as well. From Shiv Kera, the best way to handle mistakes which soon become history is to admit it quickly, not dwell on it, learn from it, and never repeat it.
Once more.
Let me
make a
pause here
mistake.
because I'm coming to a data is king segment at exactly 7:50, and that will be given to us by Jojo Kran. But before Jojo brings that to us in the next 10 seconds, let me say a big happy birthday to Addo Afol, the managing director of Graphic Communications Group. You celebrated a birthday this week. Uncle James Ebo White, you celebrated a birthday this week, and you also
Happy birthday, Ebo White.
Hey, Uncle James, the man will be big man. Uncle James. There's a story to tell about James White and his impact in my life, but enjoy this one as well. So, Uncle Ebo White, Addo Afol, it's yours as well. Enjoy it. Everyone who celebrated a birthday this week, you owe me. Because I also celebrated my birthday this week, so you owe me. So, we will do this together. But let me come to the data.
If you make a mistake.
All right, so let me come to the game changer segment to Jojo Kran now, and then when we come back, we'll tie down the last few minutes of the show. Jojo, take it away.
So today's game changer is an interesting one for anyone who is aspiring to be an entrepreneur. Now, between the trotros and the traffic, driving in Accra is a unique challenge that will test your hand-eye coordination and your patience. Another distinct feature of driving in Accra becomes apparent at traffic lights. Quick as a flash, before you can even object, a young man will come and wash your windshield with some murky soapy water and request a tip. Generally, these window washers tend to be shabbily dressed because they lack employment and socioeconomic stability. Now, a few months back, I was pulling up to the National Theatre traffic light when something unusual caught my attention. A young man was washing windshields, and in the standstill traffic, he was doing it in a suit. Now, for the first time in my life, I found myself actually calling a window washer instead of avoiding them, in the hopes of understanding his attire. But the light turned green, so I couldn't talk to him. But the encounter stuck with me. Reflecting on that experience, I asked myself why I was so intrigued by the young man. Then it hit me. It's because he stood out. This week, our game changer is branding.
Wow.
Fundamentally, branding is the process of differentiating your business from the competition by developing a unique name and image in the consumer's mind. Branding may sometimes seem superfluous, but is incredibly impactful. Per The Economist, brands accounted for 30% of the market value of companies on the S&P 500. Effective branding can increase customer loyalty, boost sales, and mitigate the impact of poor publicity. Consider the case of Apple, whose incredible brand loyalty allowed them to sell the iPhone X for $1,000, a record-breaking price point at the time. Now, less than a year later, Apple became the first company to be worth $1 trillion. People only take 10 seconds to form an impression of a brand. So given the power of branding, it is critical that we develop the right impression in the mind of consumers before they interact with our business. To close, I would like to leave you with a quote from fashion mogul Mark Echo. You too are a brand, whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not. This week, let us align our decisions with the brands we want to build. This has been the Game Changer with Jojo Okran. Have a phenomenal week.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jojo Okran. Governor, your thoughts on the guy cleaning the you said, wow, I mean, it caught your attention.
Yeah, because he was in suit.
Right.
Yeah, so he branded himself.
Which business principle would you say that one is?
Which of the business principles?
Which of the attributes of the entrepreneur would you align that one with?
Is a manpower. So it goes with the mind.
The mindset.
Yes. He decided, there's another guy selling roasted plantain, also in suit.
Right.
I don't know whether you've met him.
Right.
And Coco King also started something like that.
Right.
And this Dinkra pie on the streets. He's a master's degree holder.
Right.
And he started in Kumasi, and now he's a brand.
Right.
So I would think that nowadays, branding, as you said, is good enough. But then it depends how you would see how you have to create your brand.
Right. Let's end. We have a minute to go. Let's end on quality. I mean, the quality of the work, or maybe let me just end on reward, because many people go into entrepreneurship and the sole attraction is about cash. About cash. They want to make money, and sometimes the focus, instead of service and quality, becomes cash, and it does not last the long haul. What would you say to that?
Right now, we don't have time.
The reward.
For
I mean, if you are driving a four-wheel drive,
yes,
Governor, and I see you talked about envy and jealousy being potentially positive springboards, but it can also be
negative.
It can also be.
Before we end, Albert, I would say that we have to talk about superstition next time around,
right,
which is also killing our entrepreneurial abilities. Because pastors talk about witchcraft, and then others are going to occultism, quick money, 419. All these things will not give you money. I want to emphasize here and now that money has principles.
We'll do a full show on that,
yes,
separately. So let's hold that for now, because there's one that is brewing that will be a big show. So,
and I'm doing a lot of research on that one.
Right.
That they do not really address our entrepreneurial spirit, and it will not make this country move forward if you continue to have shortcuts to make money. We don't have that kind of thing.
Your closing thoughts, sir?
My closing thought is that we should really study how to make money through some principles that I've expounded in my book, 7 Principles. 1, to be a reliable group of people, not only honest.
1, reliability.
2, hard work.
3,
what do we do before 8 and after 5? 3, savings culture. Don't spend it all. Whatever comes to you, don't spend all. 4, invest some of the money. 5, don't forget your history. Soon people come to urban areas and they forget themselves. 6, fear God. 7, be patient. These are my
On that
thoughts.
very patient note, I want to say a big thank you to you, Dr. Mike Agyekum. And it's always a joy to hang out with you, because it's always very, very, very insightful. Let's do this again, and I'm sure that when I get to that discussion about gambling, superstition, and how shortcuts are militating against our world creation efforts, I'm going to bring you back into the studio. But coming up next is a Walk with Jesus, and the discussion is about the blessing of same-sex marriages in Christian churches. And Reverend Ransford Abose will be hosting Reverend Kwabena Asamoah Jedu. It's one you don't want to miss. Pastor Ransford Mafio Bao. It comes right after this. My name is Albert Okran. On behalf of the full academic board virtual, comprising Comfort, Matthew, Priscilla, Amos, Emmanuel, and Juju. Michaela, you are next. God bless you, God bless you, and God bless you.
Many of us stand the chance of becoming victims of globalization, not the shakers and the movers.
That a great man was asked, how do you bring up children? And he said, the first is by example, the second by example, and the third by example.
What are the top 10 things?
Albert, I should confess to you, it's a very difficult subject you're handling.
If you ever found Kelly anywhere sitting on a stool, the three legs of those two are faith, truthfulness, and enjoyment. Please don't pull any of these legs out. If you do, you will fall.
10 years of reviewing the past, situating the present, and predicting the future. Springboard, your virtual university, matriculates at 7 p.m. and